All
There we
right.
go. There we go. All
All
right.
right. So, basically, this is all my street cross section was in the
Mhm.
temp,
All right.
and I made a template. Was things were going really great, but when I went into RoadNET, which I believe is right over here. Inside the lot. Let me just reload everything, I guess.
Are you in a different folder up at the top? Hold on a second.
Sure.
Turn it down. Sorry about that.
Let me find the correct folder. Bear with me just a second to load all the junk back in.
Yep, no problem.
Now, it has a nifty tool in it that I like to use to just create the edge of the gutter or the edge of the street, or the edge of the curb, because it's in actual 2D, or it's made of an arc, not a series of segments, which doesn't bother me when
Right.
it's very close when RoadNet does it. But the way it if I could find
You see lot
right away. Oh, here it is. Sorry.
yeah,
When you come
LotNet
into
is used. LotNet is used for creating the 2D layouts, the 2D geometry. That's what LotNet is really meant.
yes, that's
And
exactly
will
what I
use,
was trying to use it for.
yeah,
Yep.
and it will use the same RoadNet file and pull that information out of it. But then it's but RoadNet is what's used for
The
the
3D.
3D stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I was trying to tell you in my email, if you go under settings,
Uh-huh.
there is a radius and a fillet setting for the cul-de-sac. However,
Right.
that setting is only for the right of way only. So therefore, what happened was I don't know how it went about creating this edge of pavement. I don't know what it used,
Yeah.
but you can see what RoadNet used.
Uh-huh.
RoadNet used some other setting which I cannot find, and LotNet used a different setting which I cannot find. So subsequently, my 3D is not right over my 2D in the cul-de-sac the same way I mean, it's directly above. If I go into, it's directly the street is directly above the straight segments. However, the cul-de-sac I couldn't get it to
Yeah.
do anything like that.
Well, all right, so you got everything to match back. Let me see, I'm gonna request remote control so you can see my mouse. You'll have to give me the go ahead. There we go. And
All right.
so now, so you got things to work back in here, you're
Yeah, it
saying.
worked perfectly. Yeah, I mean, very close. I mean,
Well, it should be
well,
exact.
yeah, I guess you're right.
You got some spillage on some of this stuff, and some of this is coming from that right of way file, where you're trying to have it create all of those offset edges, which I'm not sure exactly why.
I don't know how it's creating the offset in the cul-de-sac, because I really don't know how it's creating the cul-de-sac, because the cul-de-sac settings, as far as I could find, had only to do with the right of way and not the edges of gutter or the edges of the front and back of pavement or the top and bottom of curb.
Right.
So that's
Well,
I don't know how it's doing. I know how it's doing the offset for the street, for the straight segments. I don't know what it's doing to create the cul-de-sac.
well, let's take a look here. So if we've got, see this template, you're not sending a file out for that. We've got the cul-de-sac right-of-way radius and the fillet radius. Now the fillet radius is this right here.
Yeah, and you can't see the property line because it's right underneath that.
Right,
Yeah.
so, and that should be, well,
It's
the
not
one
the same as the
the one
street
that matched
fillet.
the road was like 80, was an
Uh-huh.
80 foot instead of 30.
Yeah, and I think the 80 was for, I don't know if the 8, I forgot if it was the 80 for the street or the 80 was for the teardrop, or but anyway.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I think the 80 was for the pavement.
Yeah.
Um,
So you can see what it did, and because I assigned lot grading rules,
mhm.
it made another 3D polyline right over the top of the 2D right-of-way line and elevated it, which is nice. I wanted it to do that,
Right.
but I'm just having a problem with the edges of pavement lining up from 2D to 3D with LotNet and to RoadNet.
All right, so we've got, let me see what, trying to, where is our, well, I don't, trying to see where I turn on that selection cycling. I'll have to type it. I don't. Two now. Now if I pick, second here, let's see, two. There we go. That's what I want. All right. So if we pick this, I want
Yeah, the edge of road in 2D is cyan. Yeah. On C pavement new. You're right on it. Yeah.
to, all right, now, what is this? See pavement new, and then over here, this one is,
That's the 3D polyline made by RoadNet, and that's right over the top of the
yeah, let me,
right over the top of
do you,
the
do you have
property
your,
line, right away line.
yeah, do you have your properties palette open on another monitor?
You know what? Hang on. Let me take back over.
Yeah.
Just close these temporarily.
Oh, that, I mean, you can if you want, that's fine. I'm looking for the properties.
Well, actually, you know what? Maybe. I have two other instances, but yeah, I don't have the
Well,
properties.
are you using two monitors if you've got a properties like?
No, I only got one.
Oh,
So,
that's fine then. Yeah, that's fine. The other stuff is fine. I wanted to,
there you go.
yeah, that's what I was wanting to do right there. And let me,
That's 3D wireframe created by RoadNet right there.
so that's on.
Right over the top of the
Yeah,
lot.
I was trying to find out what,
Hmm?
I was trying to find out what layer it was on.
Yeah, see brake line new?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I do
So
this,
all of them are on C brake line new, regardless of anything green is created by RoadNet in 3D polyline
okay.
based on the grading elevation rules and Anything
All
in
right.
cyan is in 2D created by LotNet.
Yeah, but no.
Those are contours. Those are just
Yeah,
settings that are
so see like this.
that's a contour
All right, that's
created.
okay. Then that looks to be good. Right down here, whoops. All right, so that's a contour as well. Now
Glitchy thing in there,
you've
but
got a this and this
actually you're right. It didn't create it right over the top.
and this, and those are parts of that pavement edge. Whereas the green are the
green are the 3D polylines automatically created by the elevation rules in RoadNet.
yeah. So see, I've got 1, 2, 3 edges of that, and then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 separate edges there. That's on the most horizontal one. If I go up,
I think the fourth edge is top and bottom of curb, which is pretty.
well, but here I don't have that same number. You see, I've still got the
I
3
see
edges
what
here,
happened.
but only the 1 extra on that green one. Now they're exactly right vertically there, but not lining up down here. Now, so part of the problem, one of the things that I tried to dissect out of your final, see right here's where they start to go
Pretty close there. They're pretty
yes,
far everywhere
yeah,
else.
but they start.
I mean, the chord lengths there are close enough or short enough for my purposes.
That's fine. But so one of the things that I did in RoadNet on your file was, instead of just throwing everything on pavement, so I don't know what is creating this.
LotNet's creating that, yeah.
Yeah,
Go to
but
the LotNet rules.
what part of the template is that supposed to be? Why do I have 3 edges of pavement? I should only have 2.
Let's go back into.
So
Are we in lot? Oh, go to roads again. Sorry.
yeah.
Go up
See,
to
so if
no.
we go to RoadNet,
So
so if I
if you go to RoadNet,
yeah,
actually, yeah. Well,
and then
we'll go to RoadNet, then I'll
yeah.
tell you
So
where it is.
where's your roads menu? I don't. There we go.
There it is.
And now, when we create this, and with this
My
template,
template should match that one that I drew off to the side.
yeah. So this template has an ID right here on this right here called asphalt, and it's got another one called TC for top of curb, which really this is not really a point, it's a structure. It's a little odd. So
all right.
TC is a little bit of a misnomer. You could just call it curb. TC to me is, this to me is the top of curb here, or back of curb, and this is top of curb.
I don't know what it uses to establish the grade.
Yeah, so but that's fine. I mean, like it is. And then you've got this, which is the point of the right of way that's 13 feet away. All right. So but it's creating this as a grade. Okay. And then over here, the grade point. That's where it's going to put that 3D line. So you've got 1, 2, 3 3D polylines that it can create on each side. Okay, you've got well, not three. You've got asphalt's one, then you've got curb, which is
Bunch, one,
give
two,
you
three,
a
four.
1, 2, 3 of it as
Hmm.
well. I'm not sure if it puts one here or not. I think it,
Well, yeah, you know why there's one there? That's the edge of the road.
well, no, I
That's the
understand that.
grade.
I understand
Yeah.
that, but when curb as a structure creates these lines, I'm
Oh,
not
it only
sure
makes it three.
because
It doesn't create a gutter.
I've always got a line there from the pavement.
Right.
I don't recall. I
Right.
think it does. I think it's just doubled up there with another one. So what I did on your version of it is I took this RoadNet, and instead of putting everything on one layer called brake line new or pavement new or whatever that did everything, I separated them out by individual grade IDs like asphalt, curb, right of way, so I could see what was getting created where. Okay. So
Sure.
once I did that, and I cleared all the stuff out, reran RoadNet, and it generated the things right directly on top of each other. Everything was fine. But where it's throwing those road edges, I'm not sure. That's coming out of your LotNet processing as opposed to RoadNet
Yeah.
processing. Now,
Can we go back there after we do this? I'll show you where that came from.
yeah, but so also let's see, we've got so you had also in here a right-of-way file that was creating those right-of-way edges, which are used to restrict grading. Those are things you don't necessarily need, because you've got, your simple layout geometry is you've got a center line. Okay, that's a
Yes, sir.
definition. Everything else is
Yes, sir.
offset from the center line, and it's
That's
consistent.
exactly right.
So it's just a drafting exercise. You don't need this to drive that.
Right.
But let's see, one of the things too is in your settings, you've got you see up here this draw 3D template polylines. Now that always draws,
Yeah.
but
Right.
draw 2D. So you could use it to do that as well, to get those edges drawn in as 2Ds.
Oh,
Okay.
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe I should use that instead of RoadNet.
And right here, elevate pads and elevate lots. You see that can come out of those same grade rules based
Yes,
on
sir.
the edge of pavement, if that's the one you're going to use.
Yes.
So when we look at let's elevate the lots. So there's your 2D and there's your 3D. Way.
Using the back of the.
You're using the right of way, so that's a outer edge. That's fine.
Yeah.
All right, so so let's edit those rules for a second, the grade rules.
Mm-hmm.
And back to existing.
For now, that's okay.
Yeah, okay, so the front slope.
Later on, I was going to ask you how to do split lot grading, but
Yeah,
for now,
yeah, and that's down in here. You add these different segments. That's no problem.
okay.
Copy that. Okay, so the pads themselves. So that's going to be relative to. All right, so the
Same
ROW,
right away.
the ROW 3D line is going to drive the lot line.
And the pad.
Well,
And the pads, yeah.
yeah, up at the top here. But when you're setting the pad elevation, because you're not able to set a pad at a slope. Let's say this was going up at a 10% grade. So what
Uh-huh.
you do is along that edge, say right over, you know, the frontage of the property, is you read that
Now look for the
ROW
highest.
line, and then you
Yeah.
pick either the lowest elevation, the highest elevation, or the elevation in the middle of that,
Yeah.
or you give it
I
some
pick
of the
highest because
rest.
I need it to drain usually. Because
Yeah, so
if it's really steep, it's not going to drain if I pick the lowest. Yeah. I mean the right of
right,
way is going to be higher than my
right. The
pad in
pad will
certain
be
cases.
lower than the property on the upper end of it. That's
Yeah.
correct. Yeah, that's correct.
That's why I picked high.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, that's fine. I just wanted to show you where that's coming from there. So
Absolutely.
you've got everything can be done from here instead of from LotNet. Now, if we look at
Well,
the,
I like that. Yeah.
yeah, if we look at this cul-de-sac now, you see here we got considerably different things.
Yeah.
And so here
Yeah,
we've
yeah,
got
yeah.
the template ID is the asphalt. Um,
I gotcha. And that cul-de-sac
or
radius up there is the actual road, not the right of way.
excuse me. Yeah, that's, well, it's the radius of whichever one you want to use. So if we're using the asphalt, that's going to be the pavement radius, okay? And that should be whatever it is.
Well, now I can go back
And that should be 80, you know, like that. I think
I think it was 64. No, the right of way was 64, and the offset was 8 feet, so I guess 56. 4 minus 8 is 56. I guess the cul-de-sac radius, as long as it's the pavement, 56 was correct. And from in this particular town, the fillet radius of the road, not the right of way, does have to be 80.
all right. So
But
now this,
the
all right,
right of way radius has to be 64, not the pavement. Okay. But we're doing pavement, so this should be 50.
so that's 56.
Yeah, that's the way this town's goofy thing reads on my codes.
All right.
All right.
Now, and by the way, you said you didn't know how to change these RoadNet, these RDN files. I was going to show you that real quick too. Is you
I'm
notice,
in towpath, yeah.
yeah, when I do when I run the command, it just brings up what was last here, but all you do is like right here, this button second from the right on the top row, that's to
Okay.
create a new one. But the one
Yeah.
below that is to load. So if I click that,
Oh,
you see, then I would save. I'm gonna go ahead and save.
I got it.
Okay,
All right.
and then that lets me switch in and out.
That's the one I want. Okay. There you go. That was
But
one of
there's
my 3
that one.
questions answered right there.
Yeah, and so, and it can't find the 10, which is,
Should be in there. Go to browse.
well, wait a second, should be in, are we in?
I
Are
used
we in the,
another file
are
to
we in the
create this. I did
subfolder?
myself.
No. This test existing. See, that's in that area. That's in a different
There
folder.
it is.
Yeah. All right. So if we do that, okay. So now, um,
Another 15. All right, man.
so if I look at that, now you see this different, I'm on the cul-de-sac again. Let me see. And they've got this cul-de-sac radius of 49, the right-of-way radius at 64. The fillet is
That's
really,
excellent. This answers all my questions.
that should be 93 and that should be 80.
This is great.
Yeah.
So you really should not be using LotNet to do the road offsets. It does some quirky things.
Correct. I would only use LotNet to generate those sidelines, and
The
then,
lots.
yeah, and then I would go in there and clear out everything in the road again.
Fantastic. I
Yeah.
will do that.
Okay. And
Now, the new edge of pavement that RoadNet makes is not going to be a perfect 2D arc, but you won't have to worry about.
well, yeah, you'll see that it will. Um,
Will it be a perfect 2D arc, or is it just going to make a bunch of segmented to 3D polylines
so it'll
then?
be a perfect arc if you output the 2D edges. Okay.
Ah, okay.
So
That's the key piece of information.
yeah, and then yeah, the other thing too here is, all right, so if I've got all of that, let me erase
This
those.
is actually good. This answered like 2 of my 3 questions. So I still got 10 more minutes with you, but then I gotta
Okay,
urinate on a fire and the deadline here. So,
sure.
but this is good.
All right, so now I'm gonna clear out.
Yeah. Or if you hit rerun, it might rerun.
Well, I want to, because LotNet generated some of the others,
Yes.
it won't. Unless I use LotNet to do it with. So
The lots are fine right now.
yeah, so I want to leave the lots where they are.
Well, you
And
can erase those by a layer and they'll all disappear.
well, that's the problem is that some of the line work, like this line work here, these lot lines
Yeah.
are on,
Same layer.
hang on, let's see, they're on, yeah, this break
Yeah.
line.
Layer.
Yeah, so if I were to erase by layer, I'd get rid of them too. So I don't want to do that.
Well, I mean, for the contours, the blue
Oh,
ones, you can use erase by layer. But
oh yeah.
I hear what you're saying.
So let's see, what do I got here? I got
Right away.
yeah.
It was created by the RoadNet previously.
All right.
Over
Okay.
the top of them.
All right. So we would. Well, let's doing it segment by segment. Okay, that's fine. All right, and
Wish you could erase by layer. There's not many of them. It's a flat site.
yeah. So you don't have your layers toolbar. Oh, okay, that's fine. And screen.
There you go.
I guess that's.
Yeah, it's fine. Perfect. That took care of that one.
And we got this. Now, this is the 3D that came out of the LotNet processing.
Yes, it did.
Which, yeah, so
Is the LotNet processing gonna screw with the RoadNet?
well, if we reran it, yeah,
It would, right? Maybe that's another thing I was doing wrong.
so what I'm
I
gonna,
thought when it reran, it would automatically overwrite and erase and rewrite everything, but it didn't.
well, it's supposed to, but see, the problem is that see, LotNet is more, like I said, it's more intended to do
Lots.
just layout, just do that 2D positioning on all those things. And you're typically, the whole idea is to generate the actual lot layout as it says. So
Yeah,
when
like
you
I
get
did over to the right. Yeah.
yeah, but it will read the RoadNet files, but it disregards any of the profile information for the road profile. So if we take this then and process, yeah, sorry. Triangulation file to write. Let's just call it roadway. Well, I'll put my initials there so you know where it comes from. All right, so now when that puts that up, now see,
Looking better.
well, you're drawing all kinds of stuff in here. I see you're drawing the cross-section lines.
Yeah, I wanted it to make a nice thing that I could make a tin out of, and then I find out the more 3D lines I have, the better tin does create.
Yeah, but I'll tell you that the processing on it, like you don't really need, I'm gonna spin this up and look right here. See this cross line here? There's your the actual cross section line that you don't really need that when it creates these triangles, because it uses the points on the interval, on that station drop interval. So it will use those.
Okay.
Which has that same effect. It doesn't need, so I mean, you're welcome to do that there, but see, here's the management issue. You look at that line, and I guarantee you that's still on brake line new. There it is, brake line new W. So everything's on that layer, so it gets a little hard to manage if I only wanted to get those ones out. Okay.
Got it.
But no problem. Now let me, and yes, I know you rotated, so I'm going to go to view, twist.
Just one, yeah.
Surveyor, let's say 0. And there we go. Now, so if I, let's do this. If I freeze these. And then I'm going to erase. And let's just do a fence.
I gotcha. I have it. Okay.
To there.
All right.
So we got a couple work here on this. So. And yet we've saved a couple here. Let me see now. All right, so that's the 3D edge. That part's fine. Let me see now. What was I was going to clear out some of this extraneous things to draw. So if we go again back to our settings, and I'm going to uncheck that tied to existing, because it can't do that. I'm going to set this up. This will have more, instead of dropping it every 50 feet, I'm going to drop it every 10 feet. So that'll have more effect on tightening up that 10 than drawing all that line work will. But let's see, I've got this existing surface. There's that. And no rock. Now my output is right there. To draw cross-section polylines. That's what did that. I would elevate these. pads and lots based on the reference template ID should be ROW, right? And the pad layer, what did you put them on with the other one? Was it
3D surface pads, sorry, but
3D?
three. It was right 3 from the bottom on that little list. You could pick it right off. 3D surface pads.
Right
That.
there. Okay.
All right.
All right. And the highest.
That's fine.
All right. Are these slopes okay? All right. And the elevated pad layer?
Oh. Okay, I think I got that reversed. Pad, then it went to 3. Yeah.
Yeah. This is the.
That came from RoadNET.
This is the layer that it should find the 2D pads on if you have 2D pads drawn. It can be the same layer, it doesn't matter. But if you assign a new layer.
Oh. Then they can't be the same. Okay.
Well, if you assign a new layer, the whole idea is that if you've got 2D pads drawn, you want to leave them alone. You would leave them on their own layer. You would elevate them and put them on a new layer down here. That's what that's meant to do. This is not a layer up here on the second line. That's not the layer. That's not the destination layer. That's the source layer.
Got it.
Okay. So now I don't know what you have.
I forgot myself. There's a 2D layer underneath those green lines back on 0 elevation. But
we'll come back. Let me see what we do have. I've got, this is on.
That's the raised elevation.
That's on break line new. So how many do I have here? I've got only the one. Okay.
Oh, okay. Then we won't worry about it, I guess. I don't know. My 2D outlines of the buildings pads got erased, but that's not a big deal.
All right. Yeah, you could put those back in. That could also be, you could also have those positioned.
For now, we can use this and then create a new layer. So like.
Yeah. So these are, let me see, what is.
They were 2D and they got raised to this layer.
Yeah, so they have elevation right now. So that's 996, 857. And then that should be, the highest elevation along this.
Yeah.
That's 96.
Pretty close.
That's 94, 902. So that's 96, 12. Goes up to 96, 4 there. So it'll take the highest elevation, and then it follows those rules and sets, comes back off that line and sets that elevation, right? So those are being set. Okay. So when we are elevating the pads, so right now it's going to reference the right of way, the pad layer.
We could do one or put it on.
Oh, you know what? We have to have a separate one because it's going to try, because those pads right now are drawn on the same layer as these. It's going to try to find anything there. Let's just let's create a layer. Where's your, oh, here it is, sorry. I want to make a new one called, now you can rename these later if it's better for you. 2D pads. Okay. And then I'm gonna make another one called 3D pads. And I'm gonna make my 3D pads, say this sort of electric pink looking color, more like that. And my 2D pads, I'm going to have as cyan. So now I'll be able to tell where they are and what they are. So I'm going to select every one of those. Now you've got, oh, okay, that's areas, not, I thought you had finished floors drawn in there, but that's areas. All right, so we're gonna take these.
Well, it may have been from the previous run, but
No, I just saw text there. I was thinking, oh, well, if you've already got, you don't have finished floor set, that's where,
nope,
that's what we're
I
trying
don't see
to,
it.
that's what we're trying to establish with RoadNet, right?
Yeah.
Is their finished floor. So now, as we run these things through here, all right, I'm gonna change their layer to
2D.
2D pads.
All right.
And
See that those are elevated, right? It's just going to look for them as a placeholder, right?
that is correct. Although what I will do is go ahead, I'm going to go here to my full properties and I'm just going to
Change them all to 0.
change them all to 0 since they're 2D anyway. Where's my,
Right there. Perfect.
wait a minute. Oh, here it is. Elevation 0.
Perfect. Now they're all set to go.
Okay, so now we go. And we'll escape that. What's going on here?
Another one over the top. I don't know.
No,
Oh, it didn't change those. For some reason, it didn't.
I wonder why.
Erase that and see if there's another one underneath it temporarily. Oh, no. Just undo that, match properties, and then
Yeah.
for some reason it didn't change them all. But yeah, I'm going to have to run right after you do this command, sir, because I got a deadline. But I do, yeah, let's run this.
Yeah, so we have that. Let's see. Boy, this lag is killing me. All right, so 2D
There you go.
pads and
Now
elevation.
it's all set to go.
There we go. Okay, now when we do this in our settings, then we look at our pad elevating and we're going to first of all select
Right.
that, and the pad layer is our 2D pads. Our assign new will be 3D pads. Okay.
You got it.
And then we have to say this if we want to keep that 2D. Now we will, just for, so we can compare. Okay. And then we also down here, these different layers. See, these are the template polylines where they go on, and that's okay. That's, see, brake line new, but I mean, you've got the lot lines are all on that same layer as well. So you might want to, you know, throw in a road there, or you could also use the grade name as a suffix. The cross section slope label, cross section on the template slide. So I'm not going to do the slopes. I'm going to call that disturbed.
The reason I made them all the same is because I make a surface out of 3D,
Yeah.
and then but that's just my way of doing it, because I have a different way of balancing the site than using SiteNet.
Yeah, well,
But anyway, this is fine for now, the way you're doing it.
so we'll set that up. Because RoadNet will actually create that surface itself, but then you're going to need to, because you're elevating lines here, you're going to need to, like the surface that RoadNet's going to generate is just going to be within the right of way. It's not going to have any tie to the
Right. That's because
surface.
I purposely did that.
That's right. That's right. And that's the way it works. So then you're going to go through and make that surface manually after
Yes.
the
That's why I
fact.
was putting it all in one layer. Yeah.
Yeah. So now we're going to save that. We'll process this and see what it looks like now. For ID buffer. Okay. So it's looking for
Using an old
that. Yeah.
setting.
I got it. All right. So now you would go back and now fix fix the color on some of those layers to take a look at this, but now you can see that road is directly over top of.
Sure is.
Well, actually we didn't offset the 2Ds. They're not down here. We'd have to take a look at that. There we go. So we would draw the center line, offset those edges and see, and I think we would find that they are, but now we've got these 3D lines.
Yes.
That you can't see. I'm just going to slightly, there you go. So you still got the 2Ds under them and you got the 3Ds over them. Same, for both the property line. So now you got this green and that. You've got the pads, this and that. And then you've got up here, this is that right of way line. If I take a look at that and see what layer that's on, is see road brake line.
Yes.
ROW. See there, I said it's going to use the grade name as the suffix.
Yes, sir.
To the layer name. That's the reason I do that on mine, is so that I can identify each of those and make them all different colors so I can see. But
Manipulate them. Sure.
there's no requirement to do that. Okay.
Yes, but it just makes it easier to erase in case you have to.
Yeah, and well, not only to erase, but to visibly identify as well.
Yeah. Well, this has been super helpful. Actually, I can figure out from what you've done now.
Yep.
How to elevate the lot lines with make them split grading.
Okay. Set your view back here, and then I'll let you.
I think there was something in the. I think there was something in the user's guide.
And then come up here and verify your radii and all that, but I think they're in good shape now.
Sure. This is great. So I'll never use a RoadNET for that again.
Yeah, and then save that
yes,
for that, and yeah. Off you go. So what RoadNet, the road file, the road network file that is normally to be used with RoadNET really only looks at the center line. It doesn't look at the profile at all. It doesn't look at any elevation.
Yes.
So it's used to celebrate. So I would normally use my RoadNet
for everything.
This test RDN. Well, it won't,
except for the lot lines.
Yeah, it won't create the lot lines, the original 2D lot lines. It can't create that. That's what RoadNet's for. But then once they're created, it will elevate them. So so I would use them independently.
I remember I was using a webinar. Luis did the webinar. I don't know if he still works for them or not, but
I think so.
He did it perfectly. He did it so fast though that he went through RoadNET in about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And then he went through RoadNET in about 5 minutes, and went through a billion settings. You had to actually freeze the video 150 times to try and figure out what he did, because I don't know if they sped up the video purposely, but
usually what they do is they spend a week getting everything just exactly right, and then to where all they
Yeah,
have to
so if
do
it
is
hit
hit the go
lands.
button and record it. So that's what they do. So
Well, I don't blame them. That's what I would do.
yeah. All righty. Well,
Thank you
listen,
so much.
I'll let you
This has
run.
been great.
Yeah. Give that some tries and stuff. I was gonna say I've got things. Let me see. I think I've got I thought I had your file up and open on my other screen. I don't.
Don't
But
worry. Yeah, no
yeah,
problem.
so that'll do that. Now, what I will do is I will send you a link to the video. Let me
Yes,
go
sir.
ahead and
Like we did
stop
last
it.
time would be perfect.